I wanted to show you how you can quickly and easily get an existing Ruby on Rails project running with Nanobox. Now, I didn't actually have a project I had been working on, but I was able to find the accompanying application for Ruby on Rails tutorial, and so I just decided to use that. Now, for the sake of time, I've already cloned the repository, and I've actually already gotten it all set up and running with Nanobox. But I will show you the process that I've used so that you can follow the same process for your own application. First, what you need to do is at the root of your project you add a boxfile.yaml. This is the config file that Nanobox uses when building your environment. So you need to specify in this file anything that your environment is going to need to run. For example, for this particular application, I needed the Ruby engine. I also needed Node.js, and I saw in their gem file that they included PG, so I know that they're going to have a Postgres database, and so I needed to install that as well. Once you've got your application all configured, you can do Nanobox run. And what that will do is that will build your environment using Docker, and with containers it will install Ruby and Node.js and all the things you've specified in your box file and drop you into a console. And inside of this console you can see that my project code is mounted, and I also wanted to show that I have Ruby installed, Rails installed, and Node installed. And just as a quick comparison, on my local machine here, I do have Ruby and Node installed. You can see that they're different versions, and I actually don't even have Rails installed here locally. And so this environment that has been created is completely isolated from my desktop environment, which is great for development. Now, the next thing I need to do, according to their guide here, is I just need to run a Rails db migrate, and that will just get everything all set up, and then I'll just go ahead and run the application. Now that that's all set up, I'll just do a Rails S to start my application. Now it says that I should be able to visit my application at localhost 3000, so let's give that a try. And that actually didn't work, but I knew it wouldn't work because there is one additional step that we need to do, and that is we need to tell the application to listen on all available IPs, and you do that by going to config boot.rb, and you just need to set it so that the host listens on all available IPs. So now that I've done that, I can actually start my application again, and now what I'll need to do is I need to use the IP that Nanobox gave me to access the container. And so I can connect to my application using that IP right there. So let's try that now. And what that should do is that should allow me to connect to my running application inside of my virtual environment, the application running inside of a Docker container, and it's now accessible outside to my browser here. And so you can see that the application started up, and I've got all the logs coming from the application here. But there's one additional step I wanted to show you. So I'm going to exit out of this console, and I'm going to add a DNS alias. So I'm going to do Nanobox DNS add local rails.dev, because I don't want to have to remember that IP address every time I want to access my application. So now I can do a Nanobox run. That'll drop me back into the console. Oh, actually, let me do it this way. I want to show you something cool. So from outside of the console, actually, I can just do a Nanobox run Rails S. So I don't even need to drop into the console. What Nanobox is going to do is exec that command for me from inside of the console. And so once the application starts up here, you can see it's started. I should be able to refresh the page. Oh, but I need to go to my rails.dev 3000. And we should be able to see that the application's running. There it is, and I'm still getting all the logs. And so that is how quickly and easily you can get an existing Ruby on Rails application running with Nanobox.